Taurus and Taurus rising. This is your December 2016 forecast. So this month we're going to have Venus and Mars in your 10th house of career and profession between the 8th and the 19th of December. So Venus and Mars in the 10th, it's really going to be good for ingratiating you with authority figures, bosses, and good for social charisma and confidence in the workplace. Venus in the 10th, your ruling planet, it's very good for attracting favorable circumstances and opportunities to advance career goals and objectives, so things that facilitate your work. And it also helps make people in authority more amenable to you and help you work very harmoniously with people that you work with in the office. But Venus in the 10th, also very good for creative work, artistic work, so even if that's not usually part of your work agenda, you may find yourself doing more creative work at this time, possibly even beautifying the office and making it more aesthetically appealing. Mars, of course, is the energetic yang planet. It's the planet of ambition, drive, and goals that you're actively pursuing. So with Mars in the 10th, you're really working towards career objectives, wanting to advance them, wanting to take the initiative and be in charge. So Mars and Venus together work very well together, and so for you it's really going to make you a powerhouse professionally, make people very attracted to you, make people very amenable to you, make, resolving problems more harmonious with Venus and making it more likely for you to advance yourself professionally, because the energy and focus of Mars is really going to be driven in this respect. So Mercury is also going to be going retrograde this month, and Mercury is going to be retrograding in Capricorn in your 9th house. So this is the house of travel and higher study and learning. So here, sometimes you have to revisit things that, perhaps you've neglected in the past. And for you, this could be around exams that you need to resit or studies that you want to take up that you've neglected. So also very good for reviewing and revising, editing and proofreading work that you want to publish or take, develop a little bit further. So good for getting, all your work really proofread, edited and in perfect condition. So with Mercury retrograding in your 9th, you can expect some travel delays, cancelled flights or roadblocks. And it is also the time of year when these things do happen. But for you, with Mercury retrograding in the 9th, try and make some allowances for these, or at least just be prepared for these kinds of travel delays and setbacks if you experience them. The Sun is going to be in your 8th house until the 21st of December, and the 8th house is the house of joint resources and finances. So with the Sun in the 8th house, you're wanting to get your financial affairs in order, consolidate resources, especially resources that you share with somebody else. This house also concerns feelings and intimacy issues. And often because it's also the house of fears and anxieties of mind, delving into these can give one self-mastery. With the 9th house being the house of publishing, teaching, and philosophy, it can also be that you're developing certain ideas that you want to publish or launch later on. So the Sun in the 8th can show you a lot of consolidation of personal and financial affairs. So let's look at what else is happening this month. On the 1st, Mars is trining Jupiter between your 10th and your 6th house. So this is very good for professional activities, for activities in the office. It's good for advancing and executing work agendas, so good for group work, good for projects that require a lot of energy to launch. So you're thinking very clearly and you're acting out of your own best interests, so really capable of setting a lucid and concise agenda and getting things done professionally and in the office. So on the 3rd, Mars is sextiling Saturn between your 10th and your 8th house, and this is a good energy to balance Mars trining Jupiter because it makes things practical and concrete. It helps you finalize plans, get things, in order. So executing all the nitty-gritty details, it makes you more serious, more conscientious, and more detail-driven. So those two energies will be very good for advancing business and professional concerns at the beginning of the month. So on the 10th, Mercury is sextiling Neptune from your 9th to 11th houses, and this is an aspect that's very gentle but really stimulates creativity and imagination because it concerns the 11th house. It can show, an altruistic or humanitarian agenda or group work that you're involved with. It can also just Be very good for philosophical and intellectual discussions with friends. Not so logical and precise, but definitely one that has you thinking philosophically, creatively, and outside of the box. And for you, this could definitely be channeled in towards humanitarian or social or group work. So on the 10th, the Sun is conjuncting Saturn in your 8th house, and the Sun and Saturn together can really bring up duties, responsibilities, and obligations. And for you, this is in the house of joint resources and finances, so particularly finances that one shares with others. So here it's attending to that kind of paperwork, possibly taxes, possibly financial saving plans, getting your financial affairs in order, doing your duty, so very good for consolidating affairs personally and professionally in terms of money and in terms of any kind of psychological or introspective work that you're doing. So on the 12th, the Sun is trining Uranus between your 8th and your 12th houses. So this is very good for new approaches or new areas of study, particularly interesting areas of study like the occult, astrology, parapsychology. You'll be looking at different avenues of inquiry. So restless for new concerns, restless for new information. So very interesting for philosophical inquiry. On the 14th of December, the full moon is going to be in your 2nd house. And because of the aspects with Saturn, with this full moon, you may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed by duties and responsibilities. And for you, these are going to be around financial concerns. So perhaps, you've been having to overextend yourself financially, or you may be helping somebody else out. And this is taxing your finances. So at this time, you may feel a little bit fatigued and encumbered by all of these things happening in your houses of finances. So in the 2nd house, it's what you want to do to make things more secure and more comfortable for yourself. So see where you can delegate some responsibilities so that you don't have to do all the work alone. So on the 19th, Mercury goes retrograde in Capricorn in your 9th house. So with Mercury retrograde, all the traditional significations are there. There can be misunderstandings, miscommunications, and for you in the house of travel and studies, you can expect some delays or interferences in this respect. But also Mercury retrograde this time of year, it's also just about revisiting affairs, getting our affairs in order, reflecting, introspecting. So it's not necessarily going to be calamitous. It's just about, like I said, pondering, reflecting, being introspective, getting your affairs in order. And like I said, for you, it may be travel delays and delays around study plans, but particularly travel plans, roadblocks seem more likely. So just anticipate some of these. So Mars will also be moving into your 11th house at this time. So Mars in the 11th house, this is the house of objectives, goals, hopes and dreams. So, Mars in the 11th, it's all about teamwork. So what can you do to advance your interests with other people assisting you? So aligning your interests with other people so that you can work cooperatively, making sure that, your ego drives aren't thwarted by working on things that you don't really believe in. So make sure your needs and the needs of groups and teams that you're working with are aligned so that you can get further faster with Mars in your 11th house. So the Sun is also going to be moving into your 9th house from the 21st of December. So the 9th house is the house where we're thinking big. It's not about mundane concerns. In fact, you're quite bored with them at this stage. You want adventure, you want to expand your horizons, you want new experiences. So for many people, this can be through travel or through new courses of study, things around teaching, publishing, or the law. So, you're extending your tentacles, wanting to explore new terrain, wanting to take some risks, perhaps make a kind of leap of faith. So on the 25th of December, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, there's some wonderful social aspects happening. Venus is trining Jupiter, always good for having a good time, putting your feet up, relaxing with friends, going to parties, accepting invitations to go out. But Venus is also sextiling Saturn and sextiling Uranus. So there can be some new experiences, interactions with older family members. So irrespective of whether you celebrate the holiday or not, there's some great social aspects happening on the 25th. And if you are invited to a party or feel impelled to give a party, it's a great day for that. On the 26th of December, Jupiter is opposing Uranus from your 12th to your 6th house. So Jupiter opposing Uranus is an aspect that we're going to see again in 2017. And this can open up new opportunities. It's a possibility, possibilities through circumstances, events, and other people introduce themselves that help us, reform our circumstances, improve our circumstances, and this can come from, getting rid of restricting circumstances or extricating yourself from these things. But expect, opportunities to come that are going to help enhance your freedom, and for you it's going to be in the houses of work and health. So some of these opportunities may come from getting rid of responsibilities that have passed their sell-by date. So delegating things, getting rid of things, but definitely an opportunity to improve your circumstances that's going to continue through 2017. On the 28th, the Sun is sextiling Mars between your 9th and 11th houses. So this is very good for travel. There's a lot of high energy to take the initiative. It's also good for physical activities, sports, so anything that requires physical energy, focus, endurance. And for you, this could be fun activities with friends or with groups. And Mars is that active planet, so you're feeling compelled to burn off some of that energy. So, and also the 11th house being the house of goals and objectives, it's good for advancing these sorts of things. So resetting goals and objectives and pursuing them actively. So on the 28th, the Sun is also conjuncting retrograde Mercury in your 9th house. And this could have you revisiting an area of study or perhaps revising travel plans, going over things. And as I said, with Mercury retrograde in the 9th, it can be a good time to resit exams or to re-pursue an area of study that you've left behind. So revisiting these sorts of things can be good activities to do while Mercury is retrograde. So on the 29th, we've got a new moon happening in your 9th house. So the 9th, that house of adventure, higher learning, travel, study, expanding your horizons, this could have you making very concrete plans around these areas. The new moon in Capricorn is very pragmatic, organized, efficient, so you're able to sit down and make those plans very carefully. Think about how you can practically execute things around travel and study, learning new experiences, so thinking very pragmatically. So these things are more likely to take off. And with the sextile to Mars, you may be inclined to take a little bit of a risk, but a cautious risk. So good energy is aligning with the new moon on the 29th. So the month ends with the Sun sextiling Neptune and Mars conjuncting Neptune in your 11th house. So the 11th house, because it's the house of hopes, dreams, and other people, is quite sensitized by these aspects to Neptune. So this is very good for any kind of philanthropic group activity. So where you align yourself to an ideal or cause that's bigger than yourself, giving back, you're feeling more sensitive to the needs of other people at this time. So partake of the spirit of gracious giving in this festive season. If you've enjoyed this forecast, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for listening. Have a happy new year.